some months ago, I can't remember how many months ago, so I saw in the news that they discovered some of these special vehicles still hiding somewhere, hidden somewhere in the state house. Why, I do not know, but I saw the photograph. They were all dusty and so on. Very expensive vehicles. Because I personally, together with my colleague, went there to visit the vehicles, and some of them were fantastic. They were just, there was one Mercedes Benz, for instance, with no chairs. Well, not the ordinary seats anyway, that had a working table. Oh, with so many things in it. I saw it myself. Wonderful. And special names and so on. So they could not have been sold ordinarily. In fact, I always believe that nobody could sell those vehicles to individuals in the Gambia. Of course, I know some of the wealthy people, very, very wealthy people we have in the Gambia. Some of them have been my clients. But I believe that Gambians are of such a nature that they wouldn't be so outrageous.
So extravagant.
Extravagant, if you like. Outrageously extravagant at the time to have vehicles of that type running on the roads. And in any case, really, I believe that our roads are not suitable for such vehicles. It's just total, complete waste. Yeah. Sorry?
Yes, I wish for us to zero in on that special mechanism that the Commission envisioned in selling these luxury vehicles. Please enlighten us more on that.
Well, we thought we would have some sort of talk with people, meaning the sector would lead on that, but to talk to leading people in the Gambia who are terrific experts. And perhaps they would look for people here. Of course, we didn't shut out Gambians, but we believe that for the most part, only foreigners can buy the vehicles because of the, in fact, I mean, with one of those vehicles, there was a special battery, very heavy battery attached. And they say it had, we were told by the experts there, it was attached to the outside and attached to the one of the Mercedes Benz. That unless that was done, the engine would be destroyed. So it was that expensive, using the batteries and so on. So that was what was envisioned, that people will try to negotiate and sell those vehicles. Why I say that is special? Because in almost all the orders we gave for the sale of any property, not only vehicles, land, etc., it had to be by public auction with a reserve price. We always decided to include a reserve price. That at least, we must have a price higher than the reserve price. That was definitely one of the systems.
That was a rule of thumb.
Sorry?
It was a rule of thumb, so to speak, wasn't it?
Not rule. It was almost an order.
It was an order. Okay.
Yes.
I see.
It was almost an order. In fact, I can truly say that I brought in that element, that that has to be done. Maybe because my uncle was a great Jammeh. He was a minister here once. He was known throughout as a great auctioneer. Maybe that's why I got to know quite a bit about auctions. And I, throughout all the commercials, insisted on a reserve price for sales. Okay. But that is vehicles. And that's what I have to say about vehicles.
Just before we move
yeah.
away from vehicles,
yes.
You mentioned the classifications, the luxury vehicles. You stressed luxury vehicles.
Yes.
If you could recall, do you have an estimation of how many of these luxury vehicles were on the ground?
Oh.
Or could they be more than 10?
10? I think so.
Okay. Yeah. And when you...
Some of the commercials entered some of the vehicles, in fact.
I see.
I didn't, because I don't...
You didn't fancy them?
Not that I don't fancy. I somewhat do not like, let's put it that way.
I see.
Luxury.
I see.
That has always been my status. One may say I'm a bit on the socialist side, although yes. I can surprise you. I'll surprise you.
Indeed.
And have always been. Always, since childhood.
Mm-hmm.
So those things, those luxurious things, do not interest me at all. Well, some people are fascinated by luxury.
It's a lesson.
But that's their business.
Yes.
I don't dislike them for that. But as far as I'm concerned, luxury is out. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know whether that. I don't know whether.
Yes, it answers my question. The reason I ask is because the committee is in receipt of evidence that the government later sold, or rather exchanged, 7 luxury cars with a foreign company. Now, I wanted to explain. Yes, a company in the Republic of Senegal.
I see.
In exchange for 14 vehicles, which were not quite luxury if you look at...
Sorry, I didn't hear you properly. What was exchanged for 14 vehicles? I didn't get it clear.
There were 7 luxury vehicles that were exchanged for 14 vehicles.
Okay. Yes, I get it now.
Yes. So 7 luxury vehicles that were part of the vehicles that were looked at by the Jammeh Commission were taken to Senegal and exchanged for 14 other vehicles.
I see.
Which in some people would call those 14 vehicles ordinary. Some people would call it perhaps luxury. But if you look at it in its actual sense, compared to what was on the ground, they were, I would say, supercars, but they were not luxury cars, so to speak. That's why I ask, to know whether it was those 7 that you referred to, or they could have been more.
Oh, I'm sure I saw more.
Okay.
Not only that, we even saw the military vehicles.
The armored vehicles.
Sorry?
Were they armored vehicles as well? Would you say that there were any armored luxury vehicles?
Not all of them. Maybe, and some vehicles were mounted with anti-aircraft guns. We saw the anti-aircraft guns on them. They were real military, but armored vehicles, maybe 1. Maybe I saw 1. There were other vehicles that could pass as tanks, although I, knowing a bit about warfare and so on, not that I ever went to war personally, but I've read a lot about war, especially the Second World War. I didn't consider them as safe tanks. I honestly didn't even want to call them tanks, although they were with vehicles, they had guns, and so on. But as far as I'm concerned, they were below the standard to be classified as tanks. Yeah.
Okay. I'm curious about two issues with regards to the sales. One is with
The sale of vehicles.
the sale of vehicles, yes.
Yes.
And you can appreciate that you were one of our first witnesses, if I may. In fact, you were our second witness, and as a matter of fact as well, you are the second to last witness.
Oh, I see.
We wind up tomorrow, so we thought.
Oh, that's so.
We thought the
Okay.
chairperson could tie up a few loose ends.
Yes.
Before we wind up. And there are two issues with the sales that I wish us to speak on. One, you had just mentioned that that a reserve price was pegged on each asset, each vehicle. And yes,
Vehicle.
each vehicle.
Yeah, and other, I have to, because the assets are plentiful.
Okay, right. When I'm referring to the vehicles now.
The vehicles, yes.
Yes,
Okay.
specifically to the
Very-
vehicles.
very well.
So there was a reserve price attached to that, and the committee can attest to that. We have seen documents of the valuations and the reserve prices attached.
Okay.
And you just mentioned that, as a matter of practice, the reserve price was the base price. That what was expected was that the secretary and his team were to sell above or beyond the reserve price.
Correct.
As a matter of almost, you could equivalent it to an order. Those were your words. Yes.
Definitely.
Now,
That was an order, definitely.
indeed. Now the committee has seen several evidence,
Yeah.
several reports rather, showing that several assets were sold under the reserve price. Now, my question there is not why, but where the secretary got the authority to sell below the reserve price. And
Well-
if I may just fine-tune that a bit. Well, with the issue of with the first secretary, we got an explanation from the first secretary himself and Commissioner Abiosi George, who was here, and gave us a lot of light on the two, or rather three, undervaluations that Mr. Alhaji Mamadi Kurang sold assets under. And she explained that a meeting was held after those sales, and he was asked to explain, and we have those documents. The one I wish to clarify is the second phase, when Ms. Ramatulai Sar was the secretary. But she did not go on the field. Her two secretaries, or rather her two assistants, went on the field for her. And from their testimony, they said anytime they had an incident or an occasion to sell an asset below the reserve price, they got authority from the commission. Now, they claim that they got the authority from Commissioner Abiosi George, and Commissioner Abiosi George has denied that. And we just wish to put it to you whether that was a requirement. They needed to have come back to the commissioners if they wish to sell under the reserve price, and whether that ever occurred, whether they came back to you.
No. That is straightforward.
Great.
And
I'm sure you wish to expound.
Well, because nobody, as far as I'm concerned, has ever approached me personally to talk about going under the reserve price.
By the way, Honorable Dayan,
Yes.
there was a serious allegation laid against you, and I must put it to you for you to
Yes.
clarify.
Yes.
The allegation was that you did not have a mobile phone at the time.
That is quite true.
Yes.
That was, I'm one of those old-fashioned, they used to laugh at me at the
Yes.
bar.
And we were told that Commissioner Abiosi George was the commissioner who would relay information.
That is true.
So perhaps that is how they relay.
That is true. We were the people, myself and Atumangay, who were laughed at the bar, that we were dinosaurs, That's the word they applied.
But I'm being told by the secretariat that you now have a phone, and they reached
I
you.
have it here, in fact.
Yes, that's
Although I've
good.
given it to my
Your secretary.
assistant
Yes,
here.
yes. Okay, that's my apologies
shut
for
it
that.
out, to shut it out if it rings.
That's fine.
And disturbs everybody.
That's fine. My apologies for sidetracking. You can
No,
proceed.
but that is definitely true.
Yes.
I didn't go for those things
Yes, yes.
for a long, long time. And I'll tell you one reason why I did it. Because you go to a place like a mosque at that early date, I'm telling you, and then everywhere, and nobody seemed to care. Yeah. Talking on the phone, I thought that was so disrespectful. Yeah. I said, all right, that I will not allow such rubbish to disrupt my principles. That was how it went.
Indeed.
It was only much later that I entered this phase of using even this. My phone was bought by my daughter all the way in America and sent to me. I'm not enthusiastic. That is quite correct.
Yes, I believe it was told to us because
Yes.
Miss Commissioner Abiyosi George
Yes.
wanted to underscore the point that anytime a decision was needed from the commissioners,
Yes.
and the team that needed that decision was remote, it was her that they called.
Yes.
But she did confirm that nobody called her to relay any information about selling under the reserve price.
Yes.
And you've confirmed that
Oh,
nobody
yes.
did.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I would go further to say that as far as Abiose George is concerned, she's one of the best people I respect for her truthfulness. Yeah. Oh yes, I can always vouch for her. Very, very truthful she was during the time of the commission. She was a lady, if you like. I think that spells out.
I believe the committee also observed that.
Well, they are correct.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Now, the other issue I have with the tractor sales, and perhaps I would ask the Secretariat to hand you a document. But before they hand it to you, I just wish to give you a bit of context. You see, the first sales that were conducted under the commission, or during the pendency of the commission, were the sales of cattle, even though it was not the commission who sold cattle, it was the sheriff's office under the High Court's orders.
Yes.
And those sales were subjected to an application in the High Court. They were subjected to High Court approval.
Yes.
And it was indicated in the order as such. Now, with regards to the sales for the vehicles and tractors, the same was not done. Even though the order from the High Court froze all assets alike. Mm-hmm. Now, the reason I ask this is because, to my mind, there was an existing injunction, so to speak, from the courts, freezing certain assets, all the assets that were the subject of the Jammeh Commission. Now, the commission, in their wisdom, when it came to cattle, realized that and sought to go back to the court to seek approval from the court to lift, if you may, that freezing order, or rather unfreeze certain assets, and that was the cattle. Yes.
Who did the lifting?
The court.
No, I mean, who applied for
the Attorney General, of course,
yes,
the Attorney General. And but the fact is that the order for the sale or valuation of cattle noted that the High Court should be consulted, so to speak. I say consulted in a very loose. Well, the High Court should be approached to relax the injunction.
Yes.
But in the case of vehicles, that was not done. And perhaps you can offer us an explanation. I would give you the order for the vehicles. If you wish, I could also give you the order for cattle as well, so you can compare the two.
Yes.
Yes, Secretariat.
But your explanation is quite clear. Well, I can have that.
Sure, sure.
What you explain is quite clear.
Okay, thank you.
why didn't we do for
The vehicles like
vehicles
you did for...
like we did for cattle? Yeah. Now, sorry.
You can proceed
Yeah,
with
with
the...
regard to the cattle, that was early days, and we tackled the cattle business before we tackled the get into the law a bit.
Certainly.
I think there is confusion here that the court, in terms of hierarchy, is higher than the commission, which, for people who do not know, believe that the court can always impose on the commission. That is not the case. That is the big mistake. But perhaps I should start first that people always think that the high court is the person. In other words, if you have Army's High Court, that is the court where Army sits, that's Army's High Court. If you have the court where Ramu sits, that is Ramu's High Court. If you have a place where Bala sits, is Bala's High Court. That is not the case. There is only one single High Court. Only one High Court in the whole of the Gambia. So there is no such thing as Army's Court or Badu's Court or so on and so forth. That needs to be explained because that doesn't concern me much, but I've heard and read so many things about the Ministry of Justice, going against Amin Asaho's court or something like that, and talking as if the high courts are separate elements. No, there is only one single high court, and they are all of equal jurisdiction. You can always go to a particular court presided over by a particular person, and then for some other purposes, you can go to another person presiding over the High Court. And there is nothing wrong with that. I can tell you that, especially with motions, I myself have done something like that many, many times. What you have to do, as far as I'm concerned, is to tell the new court, if you like, we'll call it court for convenience. You have to say in the affidavit that the earlier court said so and so that the new court, and I'm telling you, we are just calling it court for convenience. Once you do that, you can go from court to court to court of the High Court for a particular relief. That is the law. There is not one single court. Now, having said that, I'm saying this because I want you to understand the business of the Commission of Inquiry. A Commission of Inquiry is not a court of law. There is no doubt about it. But it has so many elements of a court of law. And this has been proved, this we can say, because of two cases. But this is quite logical. The law is saying you have the High Court, you have the Commission of Inquiry. The High Court is of equal jurisdiction to a certain extent, but it is never a higher court. The Commission of Inquiry does not take anything from the High Court. Its superior court is the Court of Appeal, and the superior court of the High Court is also the Court of Appeal. The both of them have, so it's just like this. You have the Court of Appeal, you have the Commission here, you have the High Court there. It is never a question of going to the High Court to beg for anything as far as the Commission is concerned. Now, you take note of this so that maybe with the help of your counsel, this was cleared in the case of the Attorney General, which is a Court of Appeal decision, against PAP chairs in second. It was stated there that the commissions of inquiry and the High Court of the Gambia are of coextensive jurisdiction. So we do not stand to be ordered by a judge of the High Court. This is what I want to explain. And not only that, not only PAP chairs, etc., but the interesting case is that that case was mentioned, just mentioned, because it wasn't very controversial what the Supreme Court wanted to say. And what is interesting is that that Supreme Court case was derived from a case emanating from the Commission of Inquiry, because we gave a judgment, and let's refer to the case. I think it is noted somewhere. You see it. It's yes, it's a case of what is this? Oh, this is 9. You have 1 and 2, please. You have this. 1 and 2. Okay. Not 9.
Is it a recent case, Leonard Senior?
Sorry? The Supreme Court case? Yes, it was decided at the time of the
2018?
Around 2018, yes.
Fayele Geming and the AG.
That's the one.
That's it, yes.
That's the one. It is noted here as one of the cases, not the Supreme Court, because it was in the Court of Appeal then. And then they appealed to the Supreme Court.
Court, yes.
Yeah. And that opens the eyes of so many people, because they never.
Yes, the committee is aware of the matter and has been briefed.
But
yes.
I'm saying that case was in line with the
PAP Yasin case.
PAP Yasin case. Definitely, they were in line.
Yes.
They never condemned that view. Now, because of that, although the first time they went to the court, but later on, because those were early days, later on, they came to the conclusion that they could do it upon their own jurisdiction, and would be wrong to subject themselves to the High Court.
When you say they, you mean the Commission?
The Commission, yes.
Okay.
Because the Commission was of equal jurisdiction with the High Court. And they gave reasons.
Okay, so the reasons why the order was not subjected to the High Court was that
we held the view, going with Ferial as well as PAP Yasin second,
yes,
that we could do it without going for any permission.
Okay.
I know it's difficult to understand because we go through a lot of legal concepts,
yes,
internally. But this is it. Perhaps what I would say is that really the law of the Gambia.
Yes.
We have this system. That was done by our Chief Justice. Okay. I brought it for your own benefit. It's here. The thing is, when you talk of the law of the Gambia, they just talk of, well, the Constitution, the Constitution. That's what I hear people always say, well, but not lawyers. Yeah. You know, I'm not going very far with it.
Please.
The laws of the Gambia. That is the name of the chapter. And he states it exactly as it is stated in the Constitution itself.
In Section 7.
But then, yes, but then expanded, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. Because that is very, very important, the laws of the Gambia.
That the laws include the Constitution, statute, etc.
That's right.
Yes.
But I want to read it so that the others may understand what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. You see, it says that the laws of the Gambia, one of the remarkable features of the 1997 Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia is that it expressly defines and prescribes the constitution of the laws of the Gambia, so that the corpus juris of the Gambia today can only determine by reference only to the Constitution. The laws of the Gambia prescribed in Section 7 of the said Constitution as follows.